All right, let's get into a really powerful story about endurance. I'm talking about Kamala Markandaya's amazing novel, Nectar and a Sieve. We're going to follow the life of its main character, Rukmani, and believe me, her journey through a world that's just constantly changing and throwing hardships her way, it's unforgettable.
So that title, Nectar in a Sieve, it's everything. It's the whole story in just a few words. Seriously, just picture it. You're trying to hold on to something precious, something sweet like nectar, but you're holding it in a sieve. You know, one of those bowls with all the holes in it? It's just gonna slip right through. And that's Rukmani's life in a nutshell. It's this beautiful but heartbreaking metaphor for her fight to cling to joy and hope while life just keeps letting it all drain away.
So, where does our story kick off? Well, it starts with an arranged marriage, which was pretty common at the time. Rukmani, she's the daughter of a village headman, she's educated, and she's married off when she's only 12. Her husband is Nathan, a tenant farmer, but a really kind and gentle man. And just like that, her new life begins, a life that's completely connected to the land. And you know what? For a while, things were really good. Their life was full of that nectar. Nathan was just a wonderful husband, so loving and respectful. They did struggle for a bit to have children, but eventually their family started to grow. First came their daughter, the beautiful Ira. And then, with a little help from a foreign doctor named Kenny, Rukmani had 5 healthy sons. The rice harvests were good, life was simple, yeah, but it was full. It was happy.
But you knew there was a but coming, right? Well, then progress shows up, and it casts this huge shadow over their village. A giant tannery gets built nearby, and I mean it when I say it changes everything. This is the moment. This is the thing that starts ripping holes in that sieve we talked about.
I mean, just look at the difference. The before and after is like night and day. The village life they knew, quiet, based on the seasons and the harvests, that's all gone, shattered. The tannery brings in a wage economy. And sure, that might sound like a good thing at first, money, jobs, but with it comes all this new conflict. Labor strikes, new tensions. It completely upends the traditions that had been the bedrock of their community for, forever.
So at first, it seems like there's an upside. Rukmani's 2 oldest sons get jobs at the tannery, and that extra money, it's a massive help. But it doesn't take long for them to see how unfair the whole system is. They end up leading a strike to demand better wages, and, well, for their trouble, they both get fired, just like that. So that new lifeline of money is gone, and this is where things really start to go downhill.
And as if that wasn't bad enough, right at the moment they lose that income, nature decides to turn on them too. The monsoon, the very thing they depend on for their farm, comes in way too strong and just wipes out their entire crop. This is the start of a truly devastating downward spiral, one that's going to push this family to the absolute brink. What happens next is it's a brutal chain reaction. One disaster just piles on top of another. It's not just one bad year, it's year after year of calamity. First, the flood destroys the crops. Then, their daughter Ira's husband sends her back home because she can't have children, and they're too poor to do anything about it. Then a drought hits, and they have to sell off their belongings just to eat. Then another son is killed trying to steal from the tannery, of all places. And then, the worst blow of all. Their youngest son, Kuti, dies of starvation. And this is how desperate they are. To try and feed her starving little brother Kuti, their daughter Ira makes the ultimate sacrifice. She turns to prostitution just to get some food on the table. But even that, this incredible, awful sacrifice, it isn't enough. By the time a good harvest finally comes around, it's too late. It can't save Kuti. So, they've lost children, they've lost their financial security, they've lost their dignity. After all of that suffering, you'd think it couldn't get any worse, but it does. The family is about to face what is, for them, the single most crushing blow yet. The loss of the one thing that defines who they are. 30 years. Think about that. For 3 decades, Rukmani and Nathan have poured everything they have, their work, their sweat, their love, into this one piece of land. It's not just a farm. It's the only home they have ever known as a couple. And then, just like that, it's gone. The land gets sold. And who buys it? The tannery, of course. The very place that started all their problems. They're evicted. They have absolutely nothing left. Their one and only hope is to make a long journey to a city where their son, Murugan, lives. But if they were hoping the city would be a safe haven, they were wrong. So wrong. Instead of finding refuge,
This journey into a loud, strange, new world just piles on even more suffering. It's just a new kind of hardship. It's just unbelievable. The bad luck just doesn't stop. They get to the city, and the few things they have left are stolen from them while they're sleeping in a temple. Okay, so then they finally track down where their son Muragon is supposed to live, only to find out he's completely abandoned his own family. Just gone. So now what? This old couple, all alone in a huge city, are left totally broke. They have to live on handouts at the temple and take on this grueling, back-breaking job at a stone quarry, literally just to survive. So every single day, they're out there breaking stones. It's slow, painful work, and they save every single coin they can scrape together. They have one dream left, to earn enough to go home, back to their village. But you just have to wonder, right? After all of this, after everything they have been through, can they actually make it home? All right, so this brings us to the end of the story, and the conclusion is just this incredible look at loss, but also at resilience and how life just finds a way to keep going even when you think it's impossible. And they do it. They save up enough money. They are finally ready to go home. And right there, in that one moment of pure hope, the final tragedy hits. Nathan, just worn out from all the hard work and being sick, he collapses, and he dies right there in Rukmani's arms. But listen to his last words. He doesn't say something despairing. He looks at her and he asks, "Have we not been happy together?" And wow, it's just this staggering moment that reminds you that through all the pain, all the loss, all the suffering, they had their love. That was the nectar. That was the one thing the sieve of their life could never, ever take from them. Rukmani is completely heartbroken, of course, but she finishes the journey, she goes home, and she's not alone. She brings with her a boy named Puli. He's a street kid they met in the city, who has leprosy and who helped them out. He's a boy that both she and Nathan had grown to love like a son. So she gets back to her village, and right there, in the middle of all the ruins of her old life, something new starts to grow. She's back with her son Selvam, who's now training to be a doctor's assistant, which is great, and she's with her daughter Ira, who is now raising her own child. They welcome Puli, their new adopted son, into this little group, and it's Selvam who says the words that really capture their spirit. He just tells his mother, "We will manage."
And that's really what Nectar in a Sieve leaves you thinking about. What does hope even look like when everything has been torn down? And the book suggests that maybe hope isn't about avoiding the hard times. Maybe it's about what you build in the rubble afterwards. It's about family, it's about community, and it's about that quiet, powerful promise to just manage together. The nectar, it turns out, isn't something you find before the struggle. It's something you find right in the middle of.